We are here with Yvonne Hanson and CHEP. How
Hello.
are you today?
I'm great, thanks.
Well, glad you're on my show. And tell us about CHEP. What does it stand for?
Well, CHEP Good Food is the name that we go by now. Once upon a time, when we were first incorporated, which was back in 1990, it stood for Child Hunger and Education Program. But because since those early days, we've incorporated so many other programs, we decided to call it CHEP Good Food. Yeah.
So how did it get started?
Well, once upon a time, when we were finding that there were more children going to school hungry, and it became a really big concern, I think, for some of the public health nutritionists with the health region and some of the teachers, and they came together and talked about how they were going to actually rectify this situation. And hence CHEP was born as a way of kind of addressing hunger as an issue with school children. And so making sure that children had access to healthy food at school, because we know that you need to eat in order to learn properly. And so that's where CHEP started out.
Oh, sure, and you have to feed your brain, and it really plays a big part in a good education and
That's
literacy.
right.
So that's so important what you're doing.
Yeah.
So how do you
Yeah.
go into the schools, or how does that work? Your program?
Well, yeah, so we have a couple of different ways that we work with schools. One is through our bulk buying program. So schools each week will contact CHEP and order a lot of fruit, vegetables, cheese, dairy, milk, and we will deliver to the school directly. And then they sometimes assemble lunches and things. So that's one way that schools, access fresh food to feed children through their, breakfast, lunch, snack programs. The other way is that we have what's called a centralized kitchen. So CHEP actually makes lunches and delivers them in little brown bags for children to schools, where kids are hungry. So we have kind of two different programs depending on the severity of need within the schools.
So do the principals phone you for service, or how does it work? Or do people sign up, or?
They can. Typically, it's usually held within either, the nutrition coordinators if they're at the schools, or the principals or teachers will contact the CHEP directly, and make those arrangements with us.
So is it done every day, or how does it?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day
Isn't
that
wonderful?
children
And where
are
do you
in
get your
school.
food from?
So we order food largely through the grocery people or TGP, which is also the supplier of co-op grocery stores, and so we do deliveries to the schools after we make a trip out to TGP with our reefer unit truck. People have probably seen either our big truck driving around or our van, and we make sure that kids get the food they need.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
And I know your program has expanded, so tell us a little bit about what other things you're doing.
We do a lot. We do a lot.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Some of the things that CHEP is involved with include, making sure, so we have kind of 5 goals of our organization. And I'm not going to go into detail about those goals, but essentially what it is trying to make sure that people have access to good, healthy food, and that they know what to do with that food. So we do a lot of cooking programs. We make sure that people who maybe don't live near a grocery store and kind of, are living in a lower income area of town have access to good, healthy food. So we have a lot of pop-up markets, community markets. We make sure that senior citizens who have difficulty getting out, we have stores in 9 different facilities where seniors live, and those are weekly stores to make sure that people can get the fresh fruits, vegetables, dairy, baking, eggs, some proteins, so that they can have good food.
So are you just in Saskatoon, or is it provincial, or how does?
We largely work in Saskatoon. We have another program called the Good Food Box, which does go outside the boundaries of the city. But mostly we work within Saskatoon. We find that as a capacity of an organization such as ours, which is not huge, we're kind of at full capacity to only be addressing some of the things going on in the city. But But we do gardening programs, we have the Good Food Box, we do the cooking programs, both for children and for adults. We have a new partnership with the Open Door Society where we are doing international food nights, where people who are really wanting to share their culinary skill around their own homelands and the food that they eat. We're trying to bridge some of the ways that new Canadians can teach us about how their food is put together and what it tastes like. So we're doing these kinds of cooking nights. And then we have our garden program. We have a youth internship trying to get youth involved in gardening a bit more and learning about urban agriculture. And then we do a lot of education. So we have nutrition education times that we go out to various groups like Read Saskatoon, the libraries, different organizations like Comfy, that kind of thing, where we make sure that people know what good nutrition looks like.
Well, it sounds like a wonderful program and so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
And meeting a need. So what are the needs? What are some of the hunger needs out there that you're statistically?
Well, statistically, we know that in Saskatchewan, 1 in 3 children live in poverty, and poverty usually implies food insecurity. So that's a staggering number.
It is, for
That's
sure.
staggering when you think about that. And we are super involved in our community. CHEP is really, one of the very innovative thinkers of how can we work with other groups to deal with this food insecurity problem. So we work with the Food Bank, we work with the Friendship Inn, we work with the Saskatoon Food Council and a number of other organizations in town to try to address the problem. It's a very high hill, though, and at times, you feel like, holy, like there's a lot of work to be done here. But CHEP has always been a very forward thinker in trying to address some of the root problems of food insecurity. Yeah.
Well, that's why I wanted to have you on your show, because you rock. And is it
Yeah.
run mainly by volunteers, or how does that?
We have probably about 150 volunteers that come out each week and help out with either the Good Food Box packing, or they help out with our community markets and selling the food at those markets. We have volunteers that help to load our trucks and make sure that the food goes to the kids at school where they need it. We have other people who maybe help at more that policy level or education level, maybe some of the cooking classes that we do. So we work with a lot of different volunteers. And CHEP has about 18 staff, and sometimes a little bit more in the summer because of the garden programs. So yeah, we work full on. Yeah.
So
on
do you
many
have an
levels.
office in town? Or
We do.
Where
we
are
do.
you located at?
So we're located at Station 20 West.
Okay.
Yeah, and which is a wonderful building because there's a lot of other organizations that we work kind of synergistically with, and so we deliver our programs kind of out of base camp there. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, you brought this beautiful poster in, so I'm going to show it right now and have you talk about this program.
Okay, so this is our main fundraiser of the year. It's called the Artist Against Hunger Art Auction. This year we're celebrating our 26th anniversary.
Oh, wonderful.
And so we work with a group called the Artists Against Hunger. Hugo Alvarado, Sharon Alvarado, Julie Kostenyuk, Bob Dirksen, Rose Bodding, and they are a fabulous group who make this event happen. It's on Saturday, March 18th at TCU Place. All of the art are local artists, very, very well-known artists. Some of them, some are emerging as well, and the art is very high quality. And then we do a gala dinner just before the art auction. So there's the silent and live auction. And tickets are available on our website. And so we have a number of sponsors that believe in CHEP that are helping to put this event forward. And Yeah, we're really excited about
Well,
it.
what a wonderful
Yeah.
event. And how can they buy tickets, or what's your website? Or
Yeah,
how do
so
they get...
www.chep.org. Yeah, yeah, and right on the homepage you can access how to purchase tickets.
Well, that's a wonderful and wonderful for those artists. I tell them they rock too to donate. They're donating their art.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that
Well,
wonderful?
they donate their art, but then because it's an artist-friendly art auction,
Okay.
they actually get 50% of the purchase price.
Okay.
Now they can choose to donate 100% of their art to CHEP if they want to, but we want to make sure that artists can eat too,
Sure.
right?
Yes,
And you know, and artists are not always the most affluent group in our society. I think they struggle sometimes too. But we all know that good art is something that is very aesthetically pleasing. It makes us feel good when we have beautiful art in our homes.
Is
Eh?
exactly true.
Yeah.
In that. So remind us again, if people want to volunteer or help out in any
Yeah.
way, what could they do? How can they get a hold of you?
They can call our office, which is 655-4575. They can drop in to Station 20 West and come up to our office, which is very visible, signage in the building, or they can go online and connect with us. So CHEP.org. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being on our show and doing
Yeah.
your good work out there. And that is so important, feeding people that are hungry.
Yeah.
Very important.
Thanks very much for the time.
Well, thanks again, Yvonne, for being on our show. And we'll be right back.